colleague, the Honorable Attorney General, Kiyowa Kiwanuka. You know, in the cabinet, I sit behind him. And, and I like this. Sometimes when we are talking, there are things I don't understand, and I get bored and start calling him and telling him things he doesn't want to hear. Mama Gertrude Njuba and family, President of the Uganda Law Society, Lord Mayor, Muzair Chikire, for what you are worth. Ladies and gentlemen, if I had known I was going to talk to the radical new bar, I would not have come. Because I don't like fighting wars I'm not prepared for. What is this radical new bar? Is it to the right or to the left? If the radical new bar is meant for internal struggle, I won't identify with it. If it is meant for external struggle and therefore struggle for mankind, I am a member. Because if it is for internal struggle, me and the Attorney General should not be here. Because for your law society to call themselves radical is an indictment on our performance. Why should our law society radicalize to struggle against government? For a person like me who's transited from colonialism, those of you what I'm talking about, maybe Ruchikire knows. I've seen colonialism, I've seen Obote 1, I worked under Idi Amin, I was in the bush during Obote 2, I saw the brief transition of this fracas of UNRM, they call it UNRM, and then the 40 years of NRM. And at the crowning of the 40 years of our tenure, when our past, biological past is fast catching up with us, whether we want or don't, we shall go. My question is, what are we leaving behind? What are you leaving behind when your own law society is talking of radicalizing in order to fight you, and to fight you without your input and guidance? That's the question most of us should ask ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from Muzair Chikir and a few other young men I was sitting with there, including my friend, this FDC MP, what you know, we know. What we know, you don't. And it's not our fault that we were born before you. And we had the misfortune of going through this. Bwana Chiwanuka, when your own successors radicalize and they are radicalizing against you, it means things have been going wrong. It means things have been going wrong. And I'm glad the Rukwagos of this world are doing it now when we are ready to reach the precipice. There are a few disconcerting events that have taken place in this country, and I don't want to countenance as minister responsible for internal affairs. I've made myself loud and clear that certain things that are happening are unacceptable, because I was here during Amin's time. You know, I'll recount the dictum of this preacher in Germany during the Second World War. I forget his name. Anyway, God save his soul if at all he has any. He said, when they came for the socialists, I kept silent because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the gays. I kept quiet because I was not gay. Then they came for the trade unionists. I kept silent because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. I kept silent because I was not a Jew. When they came for me, there was nobody left to speak on my behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, don't commit the sin of silence. And those of us who are in authority must learn to hear. In Kiswahili they say, asiolewa na wazazi, afundishwa na dunia. If you don't learn from your parents, you'll be taught by the world. Those of us in authority, if we don't know how to exercise authority judiciously and with caution and compassion, we shall be taught by the society we are leading. We lead, well, some people want to rule. Me, I don't ascribe to that. We lead with the consent of the governed. Sometimes the governed are wrong. When the governed are wrong, it's the duty of the leaders to patiently explain to the governed where they have gone wrong. But more often than not, the governed are right. Those who are governed, when you see them crying, when you see them jumping up and down, don't suppress them. Keep them in order, but feel their pain. Mama Jua has said it properly. She said, for us, we cried. They cried because there was pain they were unable to express. Until the headmistress felt compassion for why these girls were crying and said, what is going on? And I'm sure the situation was improved. Recently, I've heard of episodes of people being, so-and-so has been arrested. Arrested, yeah, very good. 6 months, this person has not been brought to court. Oh. So-and-so has disappeared. Like now, yesterday, today somebody called me from Mbarara and said a gentleman called Wangomani, Amos Wangomani. A very big cadre, well, these middle cadres who fights from 70 to 39. He's been arrested. Amos Wangomani from Mbarara, just a simple businessman. He was arrested, he's disappeared for 3 weeks. His family went to court. First time he was not produced. Second time he was not produced. Yesterday they went to court. You know what the authorities told us, including Muzei Chiriwachi Wanuka, vicarious liability. They said, we don't know where the man is. Oh. Wait a minute. When people of my size, height, and weight disappear without trace, that's a problem. How can a man big as I am disappear without trace? Because these fellows called me in the morning and said, if he's been killed, at least give us the body to borrow. Listen. Families are now beginning to call on us to give them bodies to borrow. We who fought Idi Amin for the very reason. Excuse me. Bwana Chwanuka, you are crossing the Rubicon. Yes, and those of us who took up arms to fight against this, don't think there are others like us in our age with the enthusiasm to fight us. Have it upon your heart that if this goes on, we are going to be fought, and I'm too old, too old to change and too tired to care. You still have 50 years to go. 50 or so? Me, at best, God willing, maybe 10 or 15. Maybe 10 or 15. I beg you, when you create all this trouble and you end up messing me up, please, I'm going to dig a grave. Just roll me in and cover. But that should not happen to us. All and sundry should learn to listen to the governed. These people, you know, the late Pecos Kutesa came to Parliament and were voting. So he also put up his hand. And then the colleagues said, but Kutesa, what are you voting for? You just come in, you're voting. Then Kutesa told you, said, all of these who have put up their hands can't be stupid. Whatever they are voting for must have sense. If it doesn't have sense, then I'm going to be party of the majority as opposed to the minority. Now, when one cries, it's an accident, an incident. When two people cry, it's a coincidence. When three people start crying, it's an action. There must be a reason for us to put our ears onto the ground and reverse the cause of this. I can see the Lord Mayor clapping. My Lord Mayor, everything you said here is wrong. But you have a right to be wrong. Yes, you may be wrong, but you have a right to be wrong. And it's our duty as the ones in charge to show you you are wrong and put you on the right path. And if you don't get on the right path and you clash with the law, then the law, which is supposed to be blind, will take charge of you. My job is to arrest Chiriowa Chiwanuka, take him to an official hangman. And the official hangman is there, justice and 10, you're God and 10. And the hangman will decide whether you hang or you don't. Why should I soil my hands hanging you and taking the blame when there is a hangman paid for it? A man who is hired to hang you and he's paid for doing it. My job is to ensure that you follow the law. In my enthusiasm, I may make mistakes. I could commit errors. That's why we go to the judiciary. That's why we call all these people here land gentlemen. I have 5 of them in my house. I have 5 lawyers, my children. And unfortunately, they follow a lady who is a doctor. Now, when they are having legal arguments, my daughter comes to me and says, Daddy, I think I have here 5 psychiatric patients. I think I have here 5 potential psychiatric patients. I say, why? I say, how can you have 5 opinions and you all claim they are right? One of you has to be right and the other has to be wrong. Let's give it to the lawyers to go to court, argue their case. When we are lucky, we win. When we are lucky, we lose. And when we lose, we appeal. That's what the craft and art of government means. That's why there is this traditional separation of powers. You are the executive, you have power. But your power is not an absolute. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And there is nobody who can claim they are right when they are corrupted. Morally or physically. Power corrupts. That's why we must be very judicious and compassionate in the exercise of power. Let's not have other matters like Njua. You are talking with Kasimo Buramia was in the Ministry of Foreign Service. And I was in Africa Department. And Amin was very, very, very mesmerized about the African Department. Unfortunately for me, I was in charge of liberation movements. So I used to interact with Amin on a regular basis. One day, he called us to this house they used to call Cape Town Villas. And I was a junior officer for the Service Officer 6. And we are going to meet him on Saturday. You know, Amin was a very nice gentleman. Whenever we went there, he would entertain us. And he would give us booze. Now, for the service officer, by your pay, whenever they brought beer, the directors would be talking for us. We would be at the back drinking. Ironically, we would start drinking at around 11. By 2, all of us would be speaking together with the president who was drinking juice. But would be at par. He would be drinking juice. For us, we are drinking beer. But at around lunchtime, we are all very, 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 very jolly. Now, on this occasion, they brought a gentleman from West Nile. And you could see by his code of dressing that the clothes he was wearing had been picked from the shop that morning. He was in a suit and a shirt. Shirt was an iron and a tie. And it was. So I invited him for lunch and told him, "Oh no, I know your problem. You had issues, and it's Fitina, West Nile. Fitina, what West Nile? They hate you. They says now I'm releasing you. Go back to West Nile. Go and do your work. And if anybody tries to disturb you, get in touch with me." Then he said, called Jonathan, a coach who was PPS, said, "Give this man 20,000 shillings. 20,000 shillings at that time was equivalent to about 200 million. It was a lot of money. Because my first car, which was a Peugeot 504, I bought at 16,000 shillings. 16,000, I could buy a car. Now it can't buy beer. So he gave this man 20,000 shillings. Now, when we finished the lunch, for us who were a bit tipsy, he gave, as this man was going out, he gave instruction to one of his bodyguards called Adam Besigye. The instruction was in Kinubi. We never understood Kinubi. But the Ambassador Kawesa, who was sitting next to me, said, "Banango ya wedi." The instruction, the model instruction showed, kill him. Then Ambassador Kawesa said, "Banange oya wedi." Are you sure we didn't get sober? We all sobered up. And true to what Kawesa has predicted, this man's body was discovered on Monday morning in the hedges of Cape Town Villas. This is a man Amin had released. Before us, his body was discovered. And that was one of the reasons why we took up arms to fight. You and us ought to fight very hard to ensure that we don't slip back to what it was. Otherwise, that's why I told you that what you know, we know. What we know, you don't. We could see. Ladies and gentlemen, cars don't overturn just like that. They veer off track. They are running straight, veer off track, and then overturn. Immediately you see your truck veering off track, bring back the steering. Don't fight us. Help us to get back on track. Because when we fight in a civil war, there are no winners, there are no losers. We all get bruised. The winners have bruises, the losers have bruises. But when you bruise your brethren, it's your duty to take them to hospital. Whether we hurt you or don't, it's our job to repair you. And whether you hurt us or don't, it's your job to rehabilitate us. So, why do we have to get to that stage when we can stop it before it happens? Disagreement is not the problem. Making mistakes is not the problem. The problem is when you can't repair the damage you've done, or to prevent the damage you're about to do. In my military training, they told me, my instructors told me, the greatest generals are those who win wars without shooting a bullet. Those who win wars without shooting a bullet. Talk of bullets. You see wars in the world. Have you ever heard of the phenomenon of the military-industrial complex? The phenomenon of military-industrial complex. Weapons are commodities, and they are made in factories, and those commodities have to be consumed. When they are not consumed, the factories close down and people get unemployed. So how do you consume weapons? How do you consume weapons? You create wars. They create wars, we buy their weapons, we kill each other, their industries go on, here we go back begging. Do we manufacture BM in Uganda? No, but we deploy it. Do we make tanks? I'm told Mujira is trying to make some in Ruweru, but we deploy them. Do we make aircrafts? No, we deploy them. So does Rwanda, so does Congo, so does Burundi. And we are consuming all these warcrafts from people who make them, and we pay for that equipment. And we're paying Amin's debts for weapons he bought to kill us. Amin went and bought weapons, used them against us. And we, the survivors, are paying. So whatever you use against us, or whatever we use against you, when we win, we shall pay. When you win, you will pay. So, the medicine is, let's not fight. Yeah, let's not fight. Let's tell us how to get back on track. Yeah. Tell us how to get back on track. Chigo and I, we should also listen to them. That's the best way we shall get back on track. And then we shall all prosper. Then you will not have reason to bury me when you killed me, when I can't fight anymore. I'm not going to fight with a gun now, but I still have my head. You know, one day, the late Pecos met General Kashaka, and in their discussion, Kashaka told General Pecos that 2 heads are better than one. Then Pecos said, yeah, 2 heads are better than one, except when the second one is yours. So let's put our 2 heads. Let's put our 2 heads. Tell us where we're going wrong. Let's also feel. In Kiswahili say kuhisi. Kuhisi. Let's feel your pain. Let's get to understand each other. Let's not get excited. Like Noop says, for us we are not going to be part of this thing of yours, iPod. But if you are not part of iPod, how shall we know when you are hungry? But I'm suffering from hunger. The man in the kitchen does not know you are hungry. How does he feed you? What you do is come to iPod, grab the Sneledo and say, don't serve this one, you also give me. When you've given me soup without bread, I say, I also want bread. How come you are giving Rukwago meat and Chikire chicken? Say, treat us fairly. But if you are outside, nobody will listen to you. And this goes for all episodes in political struggle, including the struggle with Besigye. that Besigye should be tried in a court, condemned or absorbed, is a right. It's a right. So when the department falls under you. DPP is under Chiwanuka. Honestly, keeping a man in jail for 8 months, and you say he's guilty, you've not told us what it is. Tell us. Yes, I know he could be guilty as hell, but for as long as we don't know what he has done or not done, for us as laymen, in the court of public opinion, he's innocent. In the court of public opinion, he's innocent until you present him before us and he tells us what he has done. And all the others. No citizen should be incarcerated without fair trial. I've told you this. You may hate me, you may like it. That's up to you. As far as I'm concerned, nothing lost, nothing gained. Bye-bye.
A round of applause as he goes back.